involved will be taken to be standard enthalpy of combustion. So the statement is something like this. So standard enthalpy of combustion is defined as the enthalpy change, the delta H value associated per mole or per unit amount of a substance, means which we are allowing it to burn, of a substance when it undergoes combustion, and all the reactants and all the reactants and products being in their standard states at specified temperature. So at whatever the temperature that we are performing, basically we will take the reference states as standard states only, that is 25 degrees centigrade and 1 bar pressure. So at that condition, whatever the reactants we are considering here, we will allow it to undergo a combustion reaction. Combustion reaction means simple burning in air or burning in oxygen. Then whatever the products we get, even those have to be their own native state. There should not be any other compound. So if you take an example of natural gas contains butane, right? C4H10. When it is allowed to undergo combustion in presence of oxygen, we will be getting, it's a hydrocarbon. We will get carbon dioxide and water released. So C4H10, butane is a gas. It's its own standard state. Even oxygen is a gas. Carbon dioxide is also a gas, whereas water is a liquid. So we have written their standard states. Now we have to balance it. So if you 4 carbons, so 4 CO2, 10 hydrogen, so 5 H2O. Overall, we have 13/2 oxygens required. So this is a chemical balanced equation. But we should also include the enthalpy change involved, right? Since this is a combustion reaction, our butane is undergoing combustion, giving us carbon dioxide and water. So this will be treated as enthalpy, standard enthalpy of combustion, C, delta H naught C, which will be around negative 2658 kilojoule per mole. So carbon dioxide exists in nature as gas only, so it's its own reference state. Water molecule is liquid at room temperature, so it is its standard state. And oxygen is a gas again, butane is a gas again. So all of them are in their own standard states or reference states. So that's why we are taking it as standard enthalpy of combustion, delta Hc. So this is regarding enthalpy of combustion. Basically, the net enthalpy change involved during a combustion reaction is enthalpy of combustion. If the reactants and products are in their standard states, then it will be standard enthalpy of combustion. Simple, nothing more to it. So this is enthalpy of combustion. They even gave extra example, but one will be sufficient. This is just to understand the logic, right? Next, the important one, enthalpy of atomization. I think this we have covered during lattice enthalpy discussion during this one, chemical bonding. But anyway, from the name itself, we can say enthalpy of atomization. So what is atomization? Anyone in physics, you might have learned it. Delta H naught E. What is atomization? Anyone? What is atomization? In the literal meaning only, no need to check again. Atomization. Atoms are formed. So from where those atoms are formed and how they are formed, and in the process, the enthalpy change involved will be atomization. So basically, from a molecule, take any molecule. So if you take hydrogen gas, it's a molecule, right? H2 molecule. Now, when we are converting this molecule into two individual neutral hydrogen atoms. So molecule to atoms conversion or the formation of atoms from molecule. This process is called as atomization. So here hydrogen is a molecule. Molecule is converted into two different atoms, not any charged ions they are simple neutral atoms. So this process is called as atomization. So in the process of atomization, the net enthalpy involved is denoted by delta HA and its value is for plus 435 kilojoules per mole. Why we are considering it as a plus? Because we are going to give energy to the system, right? We have to either heat it or we have to supply any other sorts of chemical energy. It can be mechanical energy, it can be any other energy. We are supplying energy. That's why the symbol is positive. So if you look at statement for this enthalpy of atomization, it is the enthalpy change. It is the enthalpy change. It is the enthalpy change on breaking on breaking 1 mole of bonds completely. 1 mole of bonds completely to obtain neutral atoms in gaseous phase. So 1 mole of bonds means for 1 mole of a molecule, how many number of bonds are there? All of them are broken down. Hydrogen is a diatomic molecule, right? So for 1 mole of hydrogen molecule, we are breaking 1 bond, HH bond. So that's why we are getting 2 neutral gaseous atoms. Remember, the atom should be in gaseous phase. In their standard states, they have to be. Then only that is treated as standard enthalpy of atomization, or simply delta HA. Since it will be the energy given to the system, the sign of the delta H will be positive. Simple. Atomization means neutral molecule to neutral atoms conversion by breaking of bonds. Here, since we are breaking down this particular hydrogen bond, in this particular example, we can treat this enthalpy of atomization as enthalpy of bond enthalpy also we can treat. In this particular case, the same delta H atomization is also treated as bond enthalpy, because we are breaking the bonds, right? In the process of breaking bonds, whatever energy is associated, we can get. What is the difference in enthalpy of atomization and bond enthalpy? Bond enthalpy means breakage of bond, whereas enthalpy of atomization means whatever might be the molecule. Here, since it is diatomic molecule and we are breaking only one bond, it is directly treated as bond enthalpy. Whereas if we have more than one bond, like in polyatomic molecule, like more than 2 atoms are bonded, then the net enthalpy change will not be equal to bond enthalpy change. I will let you know in the next example that I am going to explain. There is a difference. I will explain. Right. So take another example. Okay. Same. I'll let you know the difference. So in this particular example, there is only diatomic molecules. Hydrogen bond is there. So only one bond we are breaking to get neutral hydrogen atoms. But if we take another example, methane, and this methane, if it is broken down into carbon atom and 4 hydrogen atoms, then whatever the enthalpy associated in the breakage of bond is 1665 kilojoule per mole. In this scenario, we cannot consider this enthalpy as bond dissociation enthalpy. Why means, in the process of breaking all the 4 carbon hydrogen bonds, CH4 is a tetrahedral molecule, right? All bond lengths are same. All CH bonds are equivalent. No doubt in that. But one by one we will be removing the hydrogen atoms, right? In the first case we will convert into CH3 gas and then hydrogen atom gas. In the second case, whatever the CH3 is formed above, it will be converted into CH2 gas and then you will have one hydrogen bond. In the next case, this CH2 is converted into CH, and in the finally this CH will be converted into carbon, carbon and then hydrogen. So there are more than one steps involved in the process of breakaging all bonds and converting them into neutral atoms. So in the first case, the enthalpy associated here will be something delta H naught bond will be equal. Acha, bond enthalpy situation I will take. So whatever this delta HA is there, it is not equivalent to bond enthalpy, because even if the bond lengths are equal, all types of carbon hydrogen bonds are equal, but in the process of converting them into atoms, more than one step is involved, and in each step the reactants are different, so the enthalpy change will also be different. So we need to do some different approach. So only in case of diatomic molecule, the enthalpy of atomization is equal to bond dissociation enthalpy, only in that case. Okay, did you understand? Only in case of diatomic molecules, bond enthalpy will be equal to enthalpy of atomization. In all other cases, if we are converting a reactant into gaseous atoms, it will just be enthalpy of atomization, not more than that. We cannot attribute any other enthalpy for these sorts of example. Okay, now to the same enthalpy of atomization, let's say we are changing the phases in the lattice enthalpy for uh, sodium conversion. So sodium in element exists as a solid, right? In order to attribute the standard definition of ionization enthalpy in the next example, we will be requiring a neutral gaseous atom. So we will be converting a solid sodium to gaseous sodium. So here also, how does solid sodium exist? Like theoretically, all the solid sodium atoms will be packed together by a metallic bond. They will have a metallic bond. The metal atoms, metal ions will be in the sea of electrons. So from solid state, from 1 mole of sodium will be converted into 1 mole of gaseous sodium atoms. 1 mole of solid sodium will be converted into gaseous atoms. So we are breaking the metallic bond over here. Or simply, if you consider gas, solid to gas conversion is called as sublimation. And here in solid state, all the sodiums are bonded via metallic bond, right? So we are breaking that down. So in this case, whatever the enthalpy of atomization that we are having is equal to plus 108.4 kilojoule per mole. So in this example, again, it can be treated as enthalpy of sublimation, delta H naught sublimation, because they are in their standard state. So depending upon what's the type of state, we can we say that atomization enthalpy is equal to bond enthalpy only in homogeneous molecules, not in homogeneous molecules, only in diatomic molecules. A type of molecules only we can say A, B, something like that, not in another ones. Only in diatomic molecules, enthalpy of atomization will be equal to bond dissociation enthalpy. In all other cases, it just stays as enthalpy of dissociation. Sorry, enthalpy of atomization only. So in this example, since the sodium is in solid state, we are converting into neutral gaseous state. Here, in the process of converting, we are breaking down. In solid, sodium will be packed, right? The sodium atoms will be packed. So we are breaking those sodium, those metallic bonds, and we are getting neutral gaseous atoms. We are getting neutral gaseous atoms. So that's why this enthalpy of this atomization will be equal to enthalpy of sublimation, because the phase transformation is involved. Phase transformation is involved. So this is the example. So only in case of diatomic molecules, we will be considering enthalpy of atomization to be bond dissociation enthalpy. Now we will see more in detail regarding this bond dissociation enthalpy. Okay. So we will see the next part, that is bond dissociation or enthalpy, or simply bond enthalpy we will take, and from that we will check. So bond enthalpy again, it's the amount of energy required to break a bond, or else it's the same amount of energy involved while forming a bond. So this bond enthalpy will be discussed in two scenarios. One is when we are breaking a bond, and when we are forming a bond, formation of new bonds, breakage of bonds and formation of bonds. All right. So chemical reactions obviously will, if we have some reactants A and B, we are converting them into C and D, or simply AB. So in this chemical reaction, what is happening? A new bond is formed between A and B. So formation of bonds. The same AB, if we are converting into A plus B, already existing bond we are breaking down. So that falls under the category of breakage of bonds. So in both the cases, whatever the enthalpy that is associated, that will be treated to be enthalpy of bond, or bond enthalpy simply. But the sign will be different. In case above, it can be positive, it can be negative depending upon the type of the reactants. So let's say, for example, if this is a negative example, in the other case it will be positive, because we are doing the reverse reaction simply. So if we have to define the bond enthalpy, it can be in terms of formation, enthalpy change associated while a new bond is formed, or enthalpy change associated when already existing bond is broken down, right? So when it comes to the bond enthalpy, again, we cannot directly apply to all sorts of reaction the same point of view. There are two terms for this bond enthalpy. First one is bond dissociation enthalpy. Dissociation enthalpy is the first one. And the second one that we have is mean bond enthalpy. When we are breaking more than one bond, this mean bond enthalpy comes into picture. I will give you the above example, this methane example we have took, right? For that one, I will try to explain using the second one, mean bond enthalpy. But before we do that, let's see what is bond dissociation enthalpy. It is specifically when it comes to diatomic molecules only. Diatomic molecules. It is specifically for diatomic molecules. So what happens in diatomic molecules? The same hydrogen example you take. So we have hydrogen, one bond is there. We will be breaking it to two hydrogen, neutral hydrogen gaseous atoms. So the enthalpy change associated will be standard bond enthalpy, because we are breaking down hydrogen bond, 1 mole of bonds are breaking down. So 435.0 kilojoule per mole. So in this particular reaction, two things are happening. First thing is a molecule is converted to atoms. Second thing is a bond is broken down. So this is a typical example of bond dissociation enthalpy. Above case I have equated, right? So that equation I'm writing again. So the bond dissociation enthalpy is nothing but the enthalpy change, the delta H associated when 1 mole of covalent bonds, when 1 mole of covalent bonds of a gaseous covalent compound is broken to form products in gas phase, phase. So here we are breaking down a covalent gaseous molecule, that to 1 mole of the compound, to get a product. That too, the products will be in the gaseous phase. So here this is equal to enthalpy of atomization because atoms are formed. So no harm in that. But when we are checking for a polyatomic molecule, then the bond dissociation enthalpy will be different. Why? Because in each scenario, the reactant will change. So in those cases, we will be taking mean bond enthalpy. So take the next heading as mean bond enthalpy. Mean bond enthalpy. So this will be for polyatomic molecules. So same example, methane example we will take. So in case of methane example, CH4, which is a gas, so it is converted into when all 4 bonds are broken down. So you'll have a gaseous carbon and 4 gaseous hydrogens you will get. So since we are converting into atoms, we have standard enthalpy of atomization as 1665 kilojoule per mole. As I was saying, the initial reactants in each step. So if we see step by step, okay, if we see step by step, in the first step, CH4 gas will be converted into CH3 gas and 1 hydrogen atom. So here, how many bonds we are breaking down? How many bonds are breaking down here? How many bonds are broken down, ma? All of them, right? One, simply one. So that delta H, one carbon hydrogen bond is broken down. So this is delta CH. So this can be directly taken as bond dissociation enthalpy because a bond is broken down and we are getting a gaseous product. So this is delta H naught. In this case, the energy change involved is 427 kilojoule per mole. Now from this CH3, we are trying to remove one more hydrogen. In the process, it will be converted into CH2 gas and hydrogen gaseous atom. Now, this is also breakage of CH bond, but you see the initial reactant is different. So, the enthalpy, the bond enthalpy associated to break the second hydrogen, the amount will also be different, which is around 439 kilojoule per mole. So you see the difference, right? Since the stability is less amount of energy more. Okay, fine. Okay, CH3 to CH3. So this is second step. In the third step, again, there is a different reactant from CH2 to CH conversion is happening in the process. One more bond, hydrogen bond is broken down. So here again, delta H bond will have a different value, which is around 452 kilojoule per mole. And in the final step, the same CH gas will be converted into carbon gaseous atom, hydrogen gaseous atom. Here the delta H bond involved will be plus 347 kilojoule per mole. So how many, even if all 4 carbon hydrogen bonds are equal in methane, when we are breaking each bond and imparting the bond dissociation enthalpy, each of them have different value because in the successive removal of each hydrogen, we are observing a different starting compound, a different reactant. That's why we are observing a different value. So if we combine these entire 4 equations, we will get CH4 gas, CH4 gas will give carbon, 1 carbon atom, 4 hydrogen gaseous atoms, and the net enthalpy change. So delta H atomization A will be plus 1665 kilojoule per mole. As we were saying, we cannot consider this enthalpy of atomization to be as bond dissociation enthalpy. So in that case, what we will do, so how many steps we have broken down methane? 4 steps, right? So we will just take the mean of it or the average enthalpies of it. So in this case, So the bond dissociation standard enthalpy will be 1/4 because we have broken 4 bonds. Since 4 bonds are broken down, we will be dividing it with 4. So 1665, 1/4 of enthalpy of atomization, delta H naught A, which will be equal to 1/4 of 1665, which will be around 416 plus 416 kilojoule per mole. So this delta H bond, whatever we have, that is the mean bond enthalpy. So this is the mean bond enthalpy. So how did we calculated mean? By considering individual bond dissociation enthalpies by taking sum of them and dividing with how many bonds we have broken down. Since 4 carbon hydrogen bonds are broken down, we are dividing it with 4. So mean bond enthalpy will be 1/4 of the atomization enthalpy. So these are 1/4 of the initial values. So this is one thing. So what did it happen? 4 bonds are broken down. So the net bond dissociation enthalpy will be mean bond enthalpy, which will be 1/4 of its atomization energy. So that is one thing. So what if different compounds are involved? So some other compound AB is converting into some other compound, or A plus B is giving rise to some other compound C plus D, or else some ABCD is there, AB plus CD is there. Now this is converting into AC plus BD. Okay, so in this case, we cannot directly calculate the bond enthalpy of formation or bond dissociation enthalpy, but we can only calculate delta HR. The delta HR is nothing but the enthalpy change associated in a reaction, which will be delta H associated with the products minus delta H associated with the reactants. And if new bonds are formed, or if some old bonds are already being broken down, so that point will also be considered. I don't think that is required necessary. When we are solving problems, I will look, or I will take care of this example some more. So now we will see regarding lattice enthalpy, because in this particular example, if you go back to the bond dissociation enthalpy definition, you should bother about one important word they have included. That is, when 1 mole of covalent bonds are broken down. So here this bond dissociation enthalpy is specifically for breakage of covalent bonds, sigma bonds especially, or pi bonds, basically covalent bonds. Now, how can we talk about when an ionic bond is broken down? So what are the factors, or what will be the enthalpy change called when an ionic compound is dissociated into its individual ions? So this you should know. So what can we consider? What can be the consideration when we are talking about ionic compounds? Anyone? Anyone? How can we break an ionic compound? If we have an ionic compound, we have NaCl. I am breaking it down to Na plus and Cl minus. So the enthalpy involved for this ionic compound into ions into, yeah, that is dissociation without any doubt. But we will be calling it by a word called lattice enthalpy, right? Because an ionic crystal will always be packed. Na plus Cl minus, Na plus Cl minus, it will be packed in a crystal lattice. So we have to break those lattices in order to convert these ionic compound into ions. So there we will be including the term called delta H lattice, standard lattice enthalpy, right? Yes or no? Do you remember or no? So when it comes to the ionic compounds, the bond dissociation enthalpy is nothing but the lattice enthalpy, because the Na plus and Cl minus are just the electrostatic attraction only, and in solid state they will be packed. So we will be breaking those attractive forces in order to convert them into Na plus and Cl minus. So the net bond dissociation enthalpy will be in terms of lattice enthalpy, and where exactly we are placing these Na plus ions. Are they in the gaseous state? Are they in the solid state? Whether they are in the liquid state, that is aqueous state, that will alter the net delta H value. That part we will discuss. But before we see this lattice enthalpy, we will try to see how exactly these lattice enthalpies are associated if we are breaking the bonds in an aqueous medium, means in presence of a solvent, if we are breaking it down. So take down the next heading as enthalpy of enthalpy of solution and enthalpy of dilution. I will discuss only enthalpy of solution because dilution is almost same. So enthalpy of solution, that is delta H naught solution. So it is the enthalpy of a solution of a substance is the enthalpy change involved, the delta H involved when one mole of substance, when 1 mole of substance dissolves in a specified amount of solvent, in a specified amount of solvent. Okay, let's take dissolution of ionic compound only. So we have example of NaCl. Now this NaCl, when we are allowing it to dissolve in a solid, in water, so what will happen? Na plus and Cl minus, this dissociation will happen, right? So this will be aqueous, this will be aqueous, whereas this will be solid. But in the process of this conversion, whatever this delta H associated, we are calling it as delta H solution, because we are dissolving NaCl in certain amount of water, that is aqueous medium. But we cannot directly convert the solid NaCl into Na plus and Cl minus, right? In the process of dissolution, two steps are involved. First steps will be whatever these Na plus NaCl we have, we will be breaking down its bonds. So you have Na plus plus Cl minus. So what is this is called lattice enthalpy. This is called as lattice enthalpy. Now, once this lattice enthalpy is included, then the water molecules, whatever we have, they will be surrounding around our Na pluses and Cl minuses. So, what we have learned, right? If the ion is there and the solvent molecules are associating around that particular ion, here the solvent is water. So, there will be certain energy released, that we call it as solvent enthalpy of solvent. Okay, some energy will be released in the process of association of solvent molecules, in this case H2O. Since it is water, we will be calling it as hydration enthalpy. So by hydration enthalpy, then only we can say this particular NaCl is dissolved in the substance. So what will happen? We have Na plus and Cl minus. First, they will dissociate into their corresponding ions. In the presence of solvent, they will be surrounded by the due to dipoles, they will be surrounded. Then you'll get Na plus aqueous and Cl minus aqueous. So when it comes to dissolution of a substance, two steps are involved. One is the energy or enthalpy change involved when a bond is broken down, and after the bond is broken down, if the solute particles are surrounded by the solvent particles, because we are dissolving in a specified solvent, then the net enthalpy change associated will be the delta H solution. Now I will write neatly. So from NaCl solid to individual ions Na plus and Cl minus, whatever we have, Here we will have delta H associated with the lattice enthalpy. Now, this will be converted into aqueous ions when they are surrounded by the water molecules, that is water molecules. Then that will be treated as enthalpy of hydration, or simply hydration enthalpy. So, for any given compound, for any given ionic compound, enthalpy of solution will be equal to standard lattice enthalpy plus enthalpy of hydration, or simply hydration enthalpy. Wait. So, wait, yeah, this is lattice enthalpy of hydration. So, this enthalpy can be positive or negative, which means, anyways, in order to dissolve a salt, we will be adding and we will be stirring it, which means we are giving energy. Or else, if we try to heat it also, this dissolution will be done in a little less amount of time than when you are stirring it. So, always, most of the cases, when we are dissolving, the sign of this enthalpy of solution will be positive, because dissociation process is endothermic, because dissociation of ions is endothermic. Dissociation is endothermic. So that's why we will have a sign, positive sign for this enthalpy of solution. So this is regarding with the net enthalpy change involved when 1 mole of a substance is dissolved in a specified amount of solvent at certain temperature and pressure. So that is enthalpy of solution. Now we will see lattice enthalpy, very, very, very important for 4 marks question. You have solved them a lot in chemical equilibrium chapter, but we will see again here also, not chemical equilibrium, chemical bonding. So lattice enthalpy. So just now only I told you lattice enthalpy. So try to define again what is lattice enthalpy. Delta H naught lattice. Anyone, what is lattice enthalpy? It will be for covalent compound or for ionic compound?
Ionic.
It will be for ionic compound. Wait, I know. What? Early in the morning, every one of you is sleepy. Why are you not answering? Huh? The lattice enthalpy of an ionic compound is the enthalpy change which occurs in 1 mole which occurs when 1 mole of an ionic compound which occurs when 1 mole of an ionic compound dissociates into ions in gaseous state. Dissociates into ions in gaseous state. Dissociates into ions in gaseous state. That's what lattice enthalpy is. So if you have NaCl, same example. So NaCl will be a solid, right? So this NaCl ionic compound, if it is dissociating into gaseous Na plus and gaseous Cl minus, then the net enthalpy change involved is lattice enthalpy, delta H lattice enthalpy. Now, there are 2 points that should bother you. First thing is the initial reactant is a solid. The final products, we are considering them to be gaseous ions, which means there are some individual steps involved here. So all that stuff we have to see one by one. So the same diagram which we have done in chemical bonding chapter, the same diagram I'm about to draw. So what is the natural existence of sodium? How does sodium exist? Sodium. So let's take a net equation. So we have sodium in nature, it exists as a solid. And coming to the chlorine, it exists as a gas, its reference state or its standard state. Now this is forming NaCl solid. So this is the initial reactant, right? So for NaCl to be formed, the gaseous Na ions should form into Na plus ions. In order to do that, we have to convert this Na to Na gas. So here the phase transformation is happening. So what is this called? What is this called, ma? Anyone? Na solid to Na gas. Talk, say something. What is this called?
Sublimation.
Very good. So enthalpy of sublimation, delta H sublimation. Now, when it comes to chlorine, chlorine has to be converted into chlorine atom, that too in the gaseous state. So we are breaking chlorine-chlorine bond, and that too half mole of it. So individual chlorine molecule to individual chlorine atom will be called as what? We are breaking a bond, right? It will be called as bond dissociation enthalpy, delta H naught bond. But this is for half mole. So it will be half of bond dissociation enthalpy. Once we have got Na in its gaseous state, if we are converting into Na plus gaseous state, we are removing an electron from its outermost energy level. So what is this called? Ionization enthalpy. So ionization enthalpy. So this is delta H ionization enthalpy. Yeah, wait, I'll raise IE value only. So IE value, ionization enthalpy. So this will also be in kilojoules per mole. In the same way, when I am adding one more electron to chlorine, it will be converted into Cl minus, gaseous chlorine atom. Now, this gaseous chlorine atom is obtained by the addition of electron. So in this process, electron gain enthalpy is involved. So what happens to the electron gain enthalpy? Will it be positive or negative? It will be negative because this is highly electronegative atom, right? Yes, it will be negative. Now, these gaseous atoms, ions, Na plus and Cl minus ions will be associated in the, will be packed. They will be packed, and that we call it as lattice enthalpy. If you remember, we used to indicate this as U. So here I'm just directly writing this as delta H lattice. Why means in the process of conversion of these ions to the ionic compounds, since ionic compounds are solids, they will be packed in lattices. So that's why this is called as lattice enthalpy. So this enthalpy change involved here will be delta H lattice. So how many enthalpies are involved? So here the net reaction delta H will be, the net reaction delta HR will be around, I will write the value, plus 788 kilojoules per mole. But there are more than one steps, right? So according to Hess's law, this delta HR, whatever we have written here, should be the sum of all the individual enthalpies involved. So let's try to write them. So what happens to the sublimation energy in the first case? Will it be positive or negative? Delta H naught of sublimation.
Positive.
It will be positive only. So it will be positive. And what happens to the bond dissociation enthalpy, breakage of bond? Even
Positive.
that will be positive. So what happens to ionization enthalpy?
Positive.
Ionization enthalpy, that will also be positive. Sodium to sodium plus, that will also be positive value. And what happens to the electron gain enthalpy? That will be negative, right? Yes. So electron gain enthalpy, that is Cl to Cl minus. Now, when we are associating this Na plus and Cl minus ions, we don't know what happens to the lattice enthalpy, delta H naught of lattice. So that we are trying to find out. So I will write, so this is plus 788 kilojoules per mole according to the reaction. And coming to the delta H sublimation, it will be 108.4 kilojoules. And Bond dissociation enthalpy will be 121 kilojoule per mole. Wait, I'll just write the numbers. 121 kilojoules. And then ionization enthalpy of sodium will be 496 kilojoules. And electron gain enthalpy will be minus 348.6. So this delta H naught we don't know. So take it as like that only. So calculate and let me know the answer, and then you can leave the class. So lattice enthalpy will be what? Wait, sorry, this is not plus 788. Yes. Delta H formation, delta HF, they are in their standard state, right? Not delta HR. So this will be minus 411.2. So minus 411.2. So what's the lattice value? Lattice enthalpy.
-788.
788. Yeah, minus or plus? Plus, it will be plus.
-1.
When
It will be
What happened? You got negative? Minus,
it will
yeah,
be
yeah,
released,
correct. Yeah, correct. So it will be 748 kilojoule per mole. But here we are doing the opposite, right? We are considering the association of ions. Generally, lattice enthalpy will be what? Dissociation of ions. NaCl2, Na plus and Cl minus. So whatever we have delta H naught lattice, in this particular case, it's a reverse reaction. So take it as minus. So correct, whatever the value you got correct. But since we are doing the opposite, take the symbol as negative. This will avoid confusion. Yeah, final you will get it as plus 748. Lattice or lattice enthalpy of NaCl is 748 or 788. 788 kilojoule per mole. So this is the lattice enthalpy. If you are trying to dissociate, if you are trying to dissolve the same solution, same salt in the water, then you will consider delta H naught of lattice and whatever the hydration enthalpy that we have. This hydration enthalpy they will provide you in the they will provide you. So we don't need to remember any hydration enthalpies, but we should know the procedure for calculating all this stuff. So this is regarding enthalpies. So we have only one topic left, that is what is spontaneity and how that spontaneity is treated as entropy. So that requires one class. Today afternoon I won't take, but let's say on a Saturday I will take this stuff and I'll finish off this entropy part also. Chalo, you can leave for your next class. You guys have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye guys.